McCloskey, and I have the privilege of teaching a great class of preschoolers. And I am originally from Pennsylvania, but moved here for college and then started teaching first grade, where I taught for 11 years, and then moved here to GCS last year. I grew up my dad's a pastor, and so we often had missionaries in our church, and they often stayed with us in our house, and so I got to hear not just what their Sunday morning presentation was, but to hear what they were doing on a more personal level. And so they would tell their stories from the mission field, and their stories about what God was doing all over the world. And I was just fascinated by different cultures and hearing how God worked among different people. I, since then, have taken a lot of short-term trips to lots of different countries, and have learned to see the church, the global church, in a different way, and have seen how God works through lots of different people and different cultures, and seen such a need for the hope of God in the different cultures and in countries where they've never heard the name of Jesus before. So I'm excited to work with World Team. World Team is a church planting organization, and they send teams of people to plant churches. Church planting is going into a country or into a location with the intention of starting a church and starting a group of believers. And so you do that through all sorts of ways. And some of that is meeting the physical felt needs. So sometimes that is helping with education, or helping by providing food and things like that people need and can't live without, but that's going to lead to relationships with people, that will lead to conversations that are going to point them to Jesus. And so the hope is that people are going to come to know Jesus, and you're going to develop a group of believers who will become a local church. I would love to be going next summer, and right now, I'm pursuing ministry in Cambodia, and I'm pursuing an opportunity there, just kind of in a waiting period to see what's going to happen next with that. But I'm excited to continue pursuing that and seeing where God leads with the church planning there. I'm excited about being part of another culture and being part of a group of believers and a group of people who think differently and act differently in a lot of ways, but we still worship the same God, and being a part of just a diverse group of people, and but having the same goal, and the goal of reaching people for Christ. I'm excited to grow, as I know that there are going to be challenges, but the challenges are what help us to grow. I'm nervous about leaving family. I'm nervous to spend years away and miss out on my nieces and nephews growing up. Nervous about some of the foods that I might have to eat, and especially not knowing what some of those foods are. I'd love prayer for the vision trip and how that's going to move forward. A vision trip is kind of like a job interview. So in order to get a job, you have to go interview and fill out an application and a resume. And in missions, you have to do a lot of the same things. And you have to check to see, is this going to be a good fit for me? And am I going to be a good fit for that team of people? And so a vision trip is just looking to see, is this a good fit, and is this where God is leading me to go? Prayers for the Cambodia team leadership as they decide what that's going to look like, and how in times where travel is hard, they can still make things like that happen and help the process to continue to move forward. In Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." And I was reading recently a commentary on that verse, and it said that be still actually sometimes can be translated as stop fighting. Stop fighting and look to God, and because He is God, and He will be exalted, and He's going to be exalted not just here in the U.S., but all over the earth and all throughout the nations, because He is God. I think some really good advice that I've gotten is to live life with open hands. And it can be really easy to know what I want out of life and to say, oh, I'm going to Cambodia and I'm going next fall, hopefully. Or even in my life today, oh, this is what we're going to do in my class today. And I can hold so tightly to that. But to hold my hands open to what God has and to surrender to Him and say, God, what do you want for me to do with my life? And what do you want me to do with today? Who can I serve today? And who can I love today? So surrendering to Him and having open hands and not holding my life so closely, but holding it open to Him.